All right, St. Peter's Basilica is filled with mourners saying their final farewells to Pope Francis right now. The late pontiff's body will be lying in state until Friday before the funeral on Saturday. I want to bring in CBS News contributor John Allen to talk a little bit more about this. John, thanks for joining us. So just for our audience to understand how the Pope's papacy over the course of the decade reshaped the views of people around the world, not just Catholics, but just the people, ordinary folks who might have been inspired by some of the acts of humility that he put on display.
Yeah, Vlad, Pope Francis was very much the people's pope, this man of simplicity and humility. I think that radiated and sort of electrified the world. But I think deeper than that, Vlad, consider the stories that you and I and all of our colleagues have been covering the last 12 years, whether it's wars in Gaza and Ukraine, South Sudan and Yemen, global debates over climate change and poverty and the death penalty and immigration. On every one of those issues, Pope Francis was a commanding and I would say even singular voice for the voiceless. He was the tribune of the underclass, the voice for those people who were getting squelched by all of those crises. Now, it's not like just because he spoke, he magically resolved all of those problems. There still is war, there still is poverty, there still is the death penalty, and there still are closed borders to migrants and refugees. But nevertheless, he took the world sort of by the scruff of the neck and made it pay attention. That is a role that no one else on the global stage for the last 12 years played in quite the same way. And so I think in that sense, that's one of the things that cardinals, when they file into the Sistine Chapel in short order to elect a successor to Francis, they want, in part, someone who can have the same capacity to make it absolutely impossible for the wider world to ignore what the Catholic Church has to say.
So, John, as you know, Pope Francis appointed 108 of the 135 current cardinals, many from countries with first-time cardinals like Haiti and Myanmar, reflecting a more diverse and globalized church. The question I have is oftentimes the countries where Catholicism is expanding are often the countries that are the most conservative or the most traditional. I've seen that during my time as a foreign correspondent in Africa, where I profiled the family of Cardinal Peter Turkson. He was in line back in 2013 to be Pope before Francis was ultimately selected. I've seen that in Asia. I've seen that in the Caribbean. So do you expect that if a pope does come from another region outside of Europe, that we may see a more traditional approach to the papacy and to Catholicism? Or will someone who comes from another country outside of Europe continue Francis's legacy of perhaps a non-traditional approach to thinking about doctrine?
Well, Vlad, let me start by giving you an old piece of Roman wisdom, okay? It goes like this. You always follow a fat pope with a thin one. And what the Italians mean by that is just because Francis appointed almost all of the cardinals who will elect his successor, that doesn't mean they're going to run off to a photocopy machine and give us a clone. I mean, often they think, well, that approach has had a good long time to work itself out. Now it's time to try something different. And you were absolutely right to put your finger on the developing world as critically important to this conversation. Quick piece of math. There are 1.3 billion Catholics in the world today. Close to 3/4 of those 1.3 billion, almost 800 million, live outside the West. They live in the places you mentioned, Africa, Latin America, Asia, the Pacific Islands, and points beyond. And you are right on some of the hot-button doctrinal issues that form so much of Catholic debate, whether we're talking about the ordination of women to the priesthood or LGBTQ+ issues or the Church's teaching on abortion and birth control. Often, those Catholics in the developing world tend to be more conservative. Now, on the other hand, precisely because many of the cardinals appointed by Francis themselves tend to be a little bit more progressive, what that shapes up is a dynamic in this coming conclave in which neither one of those camps may have the capacity, they may not have the numbers to get to that magic 2/3 vote threshold you need to elect a pope, in which case, Vlad, they're going to have to go shopping for a compromise candidate.
Really interesting. And John, quickly before we let you go, the chances of seeing an American pope probably not going to happen, right? And I wonder if that has a lot to do with geopolitics. In other words, you've got President Trump, who's sort of like a bull in a china shop on the world stage these days, anointing someone as the head of the Catholic Church with all the power that entails. It might be seen by some of those cardinals that you mentioned that are looking for a compromise candidate as a bridge too far. Am I right in assessing that?
Well, I think you're probably about 80% right. You know, it used to be said it was absolutely impossible to have an American pope because you can't have a superpower pope. But, you know, we live in a somewhat new world in the early 21st century in which America is no longer the world's lone superpower. I frankly think that the cardinals coming into this conclave are less interested in where a candidate comes from than what he stands for. And if they were to find the right American, Vlad, I don't think that is anymore an absolute impediment to being elected pope.
Fascinating. Really interesting, John. Thank you very much for your perspective, as always, my friend.